Could we have roll call, please?
Greg Koshaw.
Here.
Bill Carbach.
Here.
Ken Meyer.
Here. You all emailed a copy of our minutes from our September 17th meeting. If you've had a chance to review those minutes, I would look for a motion to approve or amend.
Make a motion to approve as emailed.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Minutes have been approved. First thing on the agenda tonight. Okay, we had an executive session on the 23rd, the Board of Works did, for interviews, and we mailed out those minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, and I'll second that. Craig wasn't here. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Phyllis. First thing on the agenda, Levi Klein, if you would come have a seat here at the table. I get my paperwork out here so I know what I'm talking about. I believe you were sent a notice about rubbish in the yard, yeah.
Yes.
And you were given, I think, 30 days or something like that, and
Yeah.
nothing happened after 30 days?
Well, we cleaned it up, but I'm just, like, somebody went out there and took pictures of different stuff than what the pictures showed, so I didn't know exactly what they were trying to get me to clean up.
Mr. Carbach, were you the one that was on the job on that?
Yes, it was.
It was highlighted about tires, or motor vehicle parts or something in the driveway and all that.
I don't know. Kurt, do you have the other dated, the last?
The second set of photos?
You do? Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
This is the first set. 315 North 16th Street.
You received a second set of
Yeah.
pictures also?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why I was, like, I'm trying to see what all you want me to do to clean it up, because
Exactly.
I'm not sure, like, I don't know what you want, like, most of it just looks like, my yard's just cluttered because I got 3 kids and they play, and that's what they do.
Was this the first or second set, Bill?
This is the first set. And I'll have to say that he did do some cleanup.
Yeah, I cleaned up, and then I did accumulate a little bit more. I just too lazy to take it where it needed to go. I just dropped off because it was a late night. Started with like 4:30 in the morning. Sometimes I don't get off till like 7 at night, so don't leave me a whole lot of. But the yard's pretty well mowed. The weeds are decently taken care of.
Well, and I'd like to point out, Levi, that as a city, we're getting complaints.
Yeah, and I would want to know who's complaining if I could.
With the job I do, that's one thing I don't want to know.
Okay.
Because I don't want to go out and tell the individual, hey, your neighbor right next door is the one complaining. Because I don't want friction.
Yeah.
And the majority of the time...
I said I already called for...
Yeah, because this is like probably like the 5th time I got it, and I'm like, all right, I ain't a bad neighbor. Like, I just work, and I come home, the kids play in the yard, and then it's like most of it, like, take a picture of the back patio, like, the back patio's a little dirty, like, okay, let me clean the toys up, or, let me... Front yard's got a couple bicycles in it, because one broke, so I was trying to fix it real quick, and then it got late, and, the kids ride their bikes outside, so they just put it in the yard, and they play with them the next day.
I've taken calls about your property as well.
Yeah.
And it's, as compared to the other...
It's not even close, I think.
Yours is very cluttered compared to all the others on the block. So I think all the neighbors, regardless of who it is, has every right to say, hey, this house is bringing the rest of our properties down by the way they're taking care of the place. I mean, I don't even know what is that thing is that a trailer that's out in the middle of the front yard?
Yeah, that's a trailer, yep.
It's a trailer in the front yard.
Yeah.
A couple of gas cans on or
Never
something.
had pictures of the trailer.
No, I mean, this is the first set of pictures I ever had.
Pictures we had.
So is this the second set?
Yeah.
This is the second set?
Yeah, so the first set, I cleaned that up, you know, then I get more pictures of different stuff. I'm like, all right, so what do you...
The trailer's still there.
Yes, the trailer's still there.
Yeah, that's what, and the first set
Well, I think this
was
is
taken, the trailer's on the first.
trailers, yeah, I think I got both sets here.
Okay.
And it's in both pictures.
Okay, get more like in the background, because this one was specifically on the trailer. Like, is it not allowed to be there, or what's
The trailer's not plated.
Yes, well, I'm in the process of, like, I sent the stuff to ND, the cop came out, but, I mean, they fix it, they keep sending it back, they're like, okay, I need pictures, I take pictures, send it, then they're like, okay, now you gotta do this redate. I'm like, all right, Andy. And they take like a month just to get back with you, so, I mean, I done had it looked at and
Is
all
this the
that.
second or first?
That's the second set.
Okay, let me see the first.
First set.
This doesn't look any better than the first, really. It's different stuff, but there's still clutter everywhere. Still tires, still
Well, they're,
white barrels, still trash cans everywhere, still a dummy sitting up on the ledge.
that's a scarecrow for, like, you know, that's the kids' thing. I mean, it's decorative. I mean, right down the road, we got...
That's not decorative.
Well, there's tires right down the road, like stacked four high. They got paint on them.
Is that a
so-
fireplace sitting there?
Yes.
A fireplace sitting in your front yard?
Yeah.
I mean, an interior fireplace sitting outdoors? I mean, maybe you think these are decorations, but to your neighbors, I don't think it is.
Okay. So get rid of that stuff. Got it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, see everything here except that motorcycle?
Yeah.
It all needs to go.
Even the
Put your-
trash cans. I mean,
Put them around on the end of the
But
house.
they used to take pictures of on the end and then be like, that's what they did before. They took pictures when it was on the side. So I'm like, all right, there's nothing. I just don't want to drag them all the way from the back.
Well, this is the first set.
Yes.
They're not really on the side, they're just kind of
Now they're
laying.
cleaned up. We did clean it up yesterday.
And now this is the second set. So they're still there. Next pictures, backyard. Which one's the first one? This is the first one,
Yeah.
this is the second one. Not a whole lot of difference.
Is that your garage out back?
Yes.
You should put that stuff in there.
Because I need to clean it up in there.
Well, I guess that's what we're asking you to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. That's what. But I mean, like, what exactly on the patio? Get rid of the swing, hot tub. I mean,
Is it
I don't
operable?
understand.
Well, the hot tub doesn't look like it's operable.
It just needs plugged in.
I mean, it looks more like a tool bench right now with stuff all over the top of it. You know, everyone's idea of a neat yard is different, I guess, but you just, all I think you need to do is take a look at your neighbors
All right.
and get yourself up to the standards of your neighborhood.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's kind of what I tried to tell you to
Take
start
some
out with.
pride in it.
You don't want to continue to get complaints because code enforcement, which Kurt is in charge of, is generated by complaints.
Mhm.
If nobody complains, then he doesn't even go out and look
Well,
at it.
they don't even see my backyard from the road, so how is it, like, the front I get, but...
Well, then there's a neighbor that's complaining about your backyard that can see your backyard. That's the only thing I can say. Okay, because the backyard did come into play.
Okay.
So,
But I mean, like if you walk,
Clean the-
if you walk like from the front towards the back, then you have to turn over to take the pictures. But straight in the back, the neighbor has weeds that are about as tall as my fence, using it as a back fence, but nobody's taking pictures of that. It's just, like, I don't get it. Like, I feel like being targeted because they're complaining.
Well, you're not being targeted. We had people in here last meeting. This
Okay,
is ongoing. We are going to crack down on
Yes.
our ordinances about keeping your places clean.
Okay.
And this is going to be something that,
As long
come
as
next
somebody's
week,
complaining, I gotta keep coming back.
Kurt, what would you like to do?
No, if they keep complaining and you don't comply, then we start issuing fines.
Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, can you just give me a downright list, what you want gone, and I'll get it?
I'll do one better. I'll come down to your house,
Okay.
and we'll go through everything there, and I'll
I
tell you
mean,
what.
that's kind of what I need, because like the fireplace, I didn't see it as an issue. I just thought, okay, it's got a scarecrow on it, and you guys think maybe tacky, but to my kids and stuff, that's cool. I mean, they're kids. I mean,
Well,
And you're not a kid.
put it around,
I mean,
You need to be an adult.
put it around the back.
but then
out
I
of
might
sight.
get another picture, you know, like, hey, you got this on the
I don't
back.
think anybody would complain about it being in back sitting there, so. Just as an observation.
I mean, if something's laying in your backyard or your front yard or your side yard and you're not using it, then it's trash. Get rid of it.
Okay.
If you're using it, if you're using a trash can, that's not trash, okay?
Well, I mean, I use
But-
them trash cans.
You got a garage out back, put your trash cans in the garage.
Yeah, but then...
You got bicycles, put them in the garage. Put gas cans in the garage. If you're not going to use that tire, get rid of the tire. I mean, people's property values are based on the things that we're talking about. We're not just doing this because we want to. We're doing this because we're trying to better the community.
Yep.
It's the truth.
I mean, I'm not arguing with that, I just, okay. I'm trying to...
Okay,
comply,
Kurt,
and then-
what would you like to do here? You said you're gonna go out and give him some advice?
I'll go out and we'll start going through some stuff and give him some advice. Want to give him, we'll give him another 30 days to
Okay.
comply.
There you go. That's very fair, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's all I want, more advice, like, because I was trying to call that number the first time I got it, but I could never get a hold of no, like, I get a hold of, like, an assistant, but then I could, like, okay, what, and then that's all the far I got, and I was like, all right, I'm tired of wasting my break calling, so I just quit.
You're calling here and you're not getting through to Kurt?
No, I was getting an assistant, this is the first time it happened, and then,
Right, Sharon or Aaron,
Do
But
they
it's
get,
like-
do
they
they,
know the ordinance, just as well as we do.
yeah.
because I was asking, because the first time I got it, you know, I called like three, like, hey, it's my first one, you know, what, and then I was like, all right, that didn't happen, then it happened again, then like, oh, this is,
That's kind of why the pictures are enclosed,
kind of
to give you some guidance.
And then I was looking also at the highlighted stuff, and then it's like, okay, rubbish in the yard. Like, okay, so the more I was focusing on some of the pictures, you know, getting that part. But like he said, I got some of the tires out there and all that, and then I got a barrel up front that I just offloaded because, you know, I look at it.
Is there a riding lawnmower in this picture that's right here?
That's, yeah, I use that mower, yes. It's got a flat tire at the moment, but I just air it up and then I use that and mow the lawn.
Probably the best thing you could do, Mr. Klein, is clean out your garage to the point where you can get this stuff inside.
Put this stuff in there.
Yeah,
And
that's, well, I mean,
if
that's
it's
what-
there, people aren't going to complain about it.
You just missed a great opportunity with the big trash pickup. You could have got it taken away for free. Now you're gonna have to haul it up to the solid waste district and pay. So, but it's gotta happen. 30 days, okay?
Okay, yes, sir.
Thanks for coming in.
Pictures.
All right, so any car parts whatsoever.
No, that was, okay, see, that's for my hose.
Okay, all right.
So I'll figure that.
Car parts, jugs, get that stuff out of there, get your trash cans. If you at least pull your trash cans over to the side of the house, okay? And put them nice and uniform.
Put the lids on them, do,
Yeah,
just,
put the lids on them if you got them.
Kurt, we need to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Can you stick around a little bit? All right.
Next thing up is Kurt again with the sidewalks. I got a feeling that's why the crowd's here tonight. Am I right? Okay.
All right, so, our ordinance, 151.01E, all new construction, including residential, commercial, and industrial, shall include sidewalks as part of the development plan. So, say a developer comes into a subdivision, puts a house up, before he can get certificate of occupancy, the ground must be graded, has to have numbers on the house, and they have to have a sidewalk in the driveway.
Mhm.
Okay? That's new construction. He puts a sign in the front yard, puts it for sale. Potential buyers come in, they decide they like the house, they want to buy the property, they want to buy the house. Well, while they're there, they see the lot next to it's vacant. So they decide they want to buy the vacant lot next to it. There's no sidewalk. to
Okay.
enforce them to put a sidewalk in.
They're not gonna build anything on it, just gonna be a
No,
vacant
it's
lot?
just a vacant lot.
The ordinance doesn't say they have
The
to.
ordinance doesn't say this. Doesn't say they have to. It says new construction. New construction, including residential, commercial, and industrial, shall include sidewalks as part of the development plan.
And
And what spun this was one of the homeowners associations, or one of the subdivisions in Decatur,
obviously
sent a
Grey
letter-
Goose.
sent a letter to a few people in the neighborhood. We are sending this letter as general reminder of building codes for the city of Decatur regarding sidewalks on residential lots. Per the city's building codes, chapter 151, all new construction, including residential, commercial, and industrial, shall include sidewalks as part of the development plan. As such, the board is requesting that you install a sidewalk on such and such lot.
So the association is taking the stance that they have to put a sidewalk there.
Correct.
Someone here representing the association? Okay. Is the homeowner here? No.
Well, I have a lot, is that what you want to know? Jen?
You bought that lot?
I have an empty lot, yes.
Okay. And you don't want to put a sidewalk there, and the association's telling you you need to?
Well, when we bought the lot, at the same time we purchased the house, we bought it for A, an investment, B, when the house we live in now, if we decided we wanted to build a smaller house, we could
put
build
it right
it
there.
on that lot, and we wouldn't have to adjust to a new neighborhood and, you know, all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we bought the lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we were told by the people in Fort Wayne that was then overseeing the development, that as long as we could have a garden, as long as we didn't plant it full of carrots, because the golf course was there, they were fine with that we could just have the lot.
Now, you've lived in the house you're in
10
for...
years,
And how long have you owned the lot beside you?
10 years,
So for 10 years you haven't had a sidewalk there,
no.
and now the association's wanting you to put a sidewalk there?
Well, right along with that, sir, is I own in there too. Right along with that, only in the last 5 or 6 years has that addition developed to
True.
where it is today.
True.
Okay, prior to that, maybe a handful of houses.
I guess the question at hand here, though, is whether or not our city ordinance says that she has to put a sidewalk there, and right now it says it doesn't.
To this point right now, as far as the building department is concerned, the only way I would force them to put a sidewalk in is if they put some type of structure on that property. Whether it be a shed or garage, any type of structure that would require a building permit, then that would be considered new construction and they would have to put the sidewalk in.
Mm-hmm.
But as no structure goes in, the building department's not going to force that sidewalk. Unless Board of Works and Council or whoever above.
You know what the frontage is on that? How wide it is? Nobody knows? Well, if the association has a rule, that's one thing, but the association wouldn't be able to pinpoint our ordinance when our ordinance doesn't stipulate that it has to happen. Go ahead.
I'm in Geyer, and I and Tony was in here, and we talked to two of the gals in the building planning commission there, and they told us, the way they explained it to us, that they had to put or would need to put a sidewalk in, so that's where we got that, excuse me, that's where we got the idea that the city required them to have one in there. Now, since then, I've been in and talked to Kurt and learned different, that, we don't have that right.
Maybe the girls might have thought that a structure was going to get built there or something, I don't know. But
Yeah, so that's the reason that we even had this sent out.
I mean, I understand the reason why you'd want sidewalks there now that subdivision's developed and there's a lot of people out there and people take walks and all that, so I get that.
Is that the only place in the subdivision doesn't have sidewalk across it?
You know,
There's two.
Actually, there's three. There is, well, there's four. At the beginning of the addition, there is a lot that's owned by a couple privately. Then there's Kelly and Daniel Walker's, they have an additional lot. We have an additional lot. And in between our additional lot where the golf cart path was, is an area owned by Crookenberry. That between us, our empty lot, and the new owners of that new house on the other side. So there is an area in there, but he did not receive a letter yet.
Did the letters go to these other people?
Yes, they were sent out by Kyle Newcomb, who represents our association.
The only problem that you're going to encounter is that when the subdivision was put into place, I just happened to be on the planning board when they developed that out there with the golf course in mind. At that point, if that would have been in your rules and regulations, if the developer would have put that in, then it's enforceable. But as it stands right now, unless our attorney can tell different, it's not enforceable because you're adding new to that. Because the planning board, when they approved that, the development out there, they approved your rights and your covenants. That's what the planning board also approved.
There is another angle on this, that if you choose to work with it together, that we have a 50-50 program for sidewalks. I know that it would be 50% of the owner of the property's responsibility, but the city then takes half. If you
Would
guys
that be
work
eligible
out
for the
some type of
50-50?
a negotiation with your community association, I think it would be a solution. Are you against the sidewalk? You just don't want to pay for it?
I'm not against the sidewalk. It's a very large amount of money to put out. And if we did decide to put a new home there, then I'm told that it has to be so many inches thick or whatever. I'm not in construction, you know. But then you've got trucks backing up over that into to build your house with concrete. You've got a place where you've got a sidewalk where you want it evened out to come up to your garage that you're going to have to take out.
Right.
So to me, I'm not against it at all, no. It's just the time period, it doesn't seem like, and the expense, it doesn't seem like, I totally understand that, I walk probably more than anybody ever has out there because I've been there the longest, except for Jim. Jim's been there longer than us.
In the street?
I walk in the street, yeah.
I figured a sidewalk today for someone is 110 feet long, 5 foot wide, and the total cost was $31,6250. $3,162.50. That was the total cost.
So if they got down...
So half of it would be
Half of it was
16, 15,
something.
and change, 15, 50?
16 some change.
It has to be graded and it's a wide lot.
Oh, but that's probably including the grading. I would imagine that whoever's doing the installation would probably include that in their price. I was going to look it up here and see how wide it is. I know where you live.
It's actually not under our name, it's under our corporation name, Nightlinger Townsend
Okay.
Enterprises.
It looks like that is... about 112 feet.
Okay, I don't know.
About right on the money, man.
And you just
We
priced
figured
one what?
110.
You figured 110.
Yeah.
So with the city paying half, it would cost you around $1,500, roughly. So,
I did talk to Kelly Walker last night, and she said, you know, if all the other lots are sold, and it's just our two lots that maintain the flow, that maybe at that time we'd be willing to do it, but there's still, I'm not sure, Is it 5 empty lots?
I don't know, the county GIS doesn't show that.
Anyway, I'm not sure how many empty lots is there right now.
Do you guys have any idea how many more lots there are out there?
I think it's
I'd say 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
But Kurtenberg had already talked to me about it. He said it on the other side, on the curve there, there's an area where they are going to
Extend it?
block that off into lots. And so there would be more lots there.
But that wouldn't connect up to where Castle's is.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, because there'll probably be a waterway between Patsy's and at their lot. So that all them lots, there would be sidewalks from Larry's clear around to Patsy's.
There's already a beginning of a street there, Pintail Lane,
Yeah,
right next to Patsy Smith.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, that there's her sidewalk, and then there's 2 other ones that their sidewalks, Patsy's and the other neighbor, theirs goes right into a field. Their sidewalk, Swaggert's goes right into the road. So, and they had to pour concrete on both sides. So those sidewalks kind of go nowhere, and they still had to do that.
Well, I don't, Kurt, what would you like to see from the Board of Works? I don't know if we can really do anything.
I don't think
Well-
there's anything you can do either. I needed to address it
Yeah.
because our own ordinance is being thrown out there. Somebody actually sent our ordinance out, and they're basically saying that the city of Decatur...
Can you read that to us again? That section of that ordinance, how
Section of
how
the
it reads?
ordinance, it says, "All new construction, including residential, commercial, and industrial, shall include sidewalks as a part of the development plan." Now, I do know the city's intention is to have sidewalks everywhere. However, according to our ordinance, that's only new construction or unless somebody wants to do the 50/50 program.
Sure.
So this is,
From what you just read, does not say new construction.
Yeah.
it does, it says right here.
It does.
I'm just hearing what he said.
All new construction, including residential, commercial, and industrial, shall include sidewalks. as
And
a
she's
part
on
of
the lot for 10 years and has never been told she has to put a sidewalk there until recently. And that wasn't by the city, it was by the association.
The developer didn't hand over the ownership of any of the HOA until the 1st of August. So the HOA has only been in effect and been able to force any of the rules or regulations in the HOA since 1st of August. The developer, I've lived there for almost a little over 2 years now, and from what I've heard, it seems like the last couple of years, probably the last 6 years, the developer has gotten relaxed on enforcing a lot of the housing ordinance rules that are required.
Actually, that started from day one.
But I'm the vice president on the HOA right now, and it seems like that since I have moved in, I followed the HOA guidelines by the letter when I moved in to develop my home. But a lot of new homes that have come in, the developer has kind of ignored, or just they've been at the point where they just don't want to deal with it anymore. And I think that's one reason why Josh turned around and bought all the main lots, and the developer that is in Fort Wayne, they just washed their hands and walked away.
Actually, Josh bought the lots, but that was going on in Carroll.
Sure.
Okay, spent them things from coming in. It was
Yeah.
all looked like-
And you can thank him for that.
Yes, we did. And I thank him every day.
Mhm.
Okay, but I think we only have about 5 lots in there. Because we have two are currently under construction, one's about to be finished. Started with 9. Okay, and we still have the one up in front, which again was bought at about the same time as we, the 2 of us, were in there. Okay, whatever happened there, I have got no clue. Okay, Missy, in my opinion, as a realtor, didn't step up to the plate and get that taken care of, but that's not my deal.
Mhm.
Okay, but I guess I understand what's being said by the homeowner. I understand that clearly. Okay, but I don't understand if you go out and buy a lot, regardless of what you buy a lot for, no different than Walker, no different than not going to buy it. I would feel like I'm responsible and expected to put in that sidewalk to make that total connection. And if it's not there, it's not there. Okay? Are we paying taxes separately on 2 lots, or do we have a continuous lot? Are you doing that?
Oh, yes, you bet, and I also paid double HOA,
Yeah.
and some of the people didn't last year, and we did.
Yeah.
Paid double.
But in my personal opinion, I am the first resident there, and I expect sidewalks to go from the street all the way around and out, so that if I choose to walk, I don't have to stumble through the weeds.
There's no weeds.
You know,
Well,
AOA decision.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When you buy out there, you're buying a platted lot. And that platted lot is sold to you subject to covenants, restrictions of record, so, and ordinances that apply. So there's 2 potential places where a vacant lot could be, the owner of a vacant lot could be required to put in a sidewalk. The first would be if your restrictive covenants that were platted as part of the plat of the subdivision itself required it. The second place would be in the city ordinance. The city ordinance doesn't require it unless there's new construction. So if the platted restrictive covenants don't require that until construction occurs, then you're not in a position that you can enforce that at this point. Now, should the city look at changing its ordinance to require the installation of a lot, whether it's built upon or not, that's something that the city could look at, but the city isn't going to make that or can't make it retroactive for somebody that's already acquired a lot. You can't go back and make it a requirement after the fact. So, you know, trust me, I understand the importance of sidewalks. Frankly, it probably improves the value of everybody's property when you have sidewalks throughout the entire neighborhood. So from the homeowners and the association's perspective, yeah, it makes sense that you have those in. But under these circumstances, I don't know that the homeowners association can require it relying on the city ordinance, because that's not what we require.
So we can't really be the referee here tonight.
Unless it's an issue of safety of the people that are walking on the street because they don't have sidewalks to walk on. And that's what Board of Works and Safety is about, right?
I mean, now, if your homeowners association has a meeting and you unanimously vote something in, I don't know if you could even, I don't know if you'd be able to grandfather something that was existing, but going forward, you might want to change your association rules and not cite our ordinance unless we change our ordinance down the road. Now, and maybe we should, because of this very thing. You know, like the gentleman here says, if I want to go take a walk, it'd be nice to have sidewalks to walk on in my neighborhood. And I agree with him. I really do.
Yeah, sure. Care if I share a solution that we had
Go
in
ahead.
our neighborhood?
Yeah.
In our homeowners association, there were commons areas that weren't tied together, where you had people that built on property. If they had 1 or 2 lots, whatever it may be, they were to finish to the end of the property line. The next neighbor that moved in was to take over. There were certain common areas that were owned by the whole entire community, you know, like the entrances or whatever, and there was additional ground. At this time, we're trying to utilize the city match to help take care of that. I think it's a situation, I think she would, if she walks a lot, it's just she hates to be told exactly what, I have to spend $1,500 put this sidewalk in. If you could come to some type of a compromise and share with the dues that she's paying out of your homeowners association, I think you could come to a reasonable understanding. You see what I'm saying? We took our homeowners, I'm in a homeowners association, several of them, but if the homeowners association realizes it's of common interest to all to help, and then you get the city matching 50%, come up with some type of solution to pacify all neighbors to make the situation.
And I can understand from her perspective, if she puts a sidewalk clear across there, and then either they decide to build there or they sell it off to somebody else, whenever there is something built there, if it's a sidewalk clear across, there's no curb cut, then they got to come in and they're going to have to completely redo that. So from that perspective, I mean, there's a lot of different ways of looking at it, but I understand where you're coming from, I really do. And I understand where Sheila's coming from.
Well, I think some of the people that talked to me about it have said that what their concern is, when that first was built out there, it was more of a retirement community. Well, since then, the golf course is closed, it's not so much, and we have a lot of kids out there now. And so it's kind of concerning that you have kids riding their little trikes or whatever down the sidewalk, and then they got to go out on the road, and then they got to get back up on the sidewalk. And one of my ideas was, even if they don't put a sidewalk in, could they put in like a handicap ramp so that at least they would go out on the street in one area and come back up on the sidewalk so that they wouldn't like walk halfway through the field or...
When you say they put in a handicap, who are they?
Well, the homeowners, I think. But now maybe that would be us too, I don't know. Surely we can work something out.
Yeah, the other thing that you could look at is look at your restrictive covenants to see if you have the ability to amend those. It probably requires a supermajority vote. Oftentimes it's 2/3, 3/4 of the homeowners, but if you have enough homeowners out there that want to amend your restrictive covenants that then applies to everybody, you might be in a position that you could do something like that. You may want to consult with an attorney on that, but that's another option. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question, Tim? So if we have a meeting and obviously there's more people wanting that sidewalk than not wanting it, at that point, the city's rules does not apply at all.
No, then what I'm talking about, the city doesn't have that requirement now. But if the homeowners association, if the property owners in the subdivision have the ability under the restrictive covenants to amend the restrictive covenants, if you follow the proper procedures to do that, then that may become a requirement of the association, which then could be binding on all lot owners. So that's up to you as a group of homeowners.
I think the bottom line on all of this is, if all the lots were sold and there was a continuation completely through the whole addition, we wouldn't feel so bad about spending the money to put it in, even though at some point it would have to be tore back out, whoever does decide to live there or put a house there, whether it's us or somebody else. It wouldn't be so bad, but there's no continuation at this point because there's still a major construction. So we have 5 or 6 more lots to sell, plus 4 more. So when those are all done, maybe at that point, we'd be willing to do it.
How many people were given letters like they were that they have to do this?
It would have been Walker's and Townsend's.
Okay. And Walkers don't want to do it either?
No.
Well, they're considering downsizing, and their kids are about ready out of school, and they're just, biding their time till they move.
I don't know what more we can do here tonight. I mean, it's just been an open discussion, but I don't really think there's any action we can take on it. Sorry.
Well, yeah, we're trying to give you some ideas that you might consider.
Yeah. I will take
Like I said, the city will do a 50-50 match, and like I said, in one of the neighborhood associations that I belong to, we came up with a solution by partnering with them to shell some of that cost, to share some of that cost, so it dropped the number a bit.
Okay? Thank you. We're going to move on here. We're on time limit.
Yeah. Grey Goose.
Lenny, where you at?
It's a good scenario.
Yeah.
Sidewalks, because we're going to have to cross that one the other day.
Can't miss those feet tonight.
Aren't we? What's that?
I said, one day we're going to have to cross that bridge.
Even in Iowa, trying to walk from the entrance off of Winchester down to Canterbury.
What do you got, man?
I have one.
So,
What are these?
Look at this.
Coins.
Tell us about your coins there.
It's kind of a big thing now with the police departments and stuff, and I took a chance and ordered some, and to see how it would go, and they came out real nice.
and I already got a bunch of people ask me about them, so I thought I'd give some to council members and maybe some people that come and visit the police department, some dignitary people, and then also people who give donations to the police department. And so far, I only ordered a minimal amount, just see how it went, but right now guys
Everybody
are buying
likes
them and everybody's asking for them, so.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Taking out the stuff on the back too.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's our mission statement for the police department.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Okay, you got a few different things you wanted to kind of cover tonight. Let's save the sergeant thing for last.
Okay. The first thing I'm asking is for the Board of Works approval. Since I took over, I upgraded our automatic rifles. The ones were purchased almost 19 to 20 years ago. Ken Ketzler, the retired police chief, bought those in 99 and 2000. We had Rugers when Chief Nowak was police chief. So when I took over, I upgraded to new Colts, and we just have a whole bunch of old ones stacked up in our gun cabinet in our armory room. I bought a gun safe last year to protect ammo and things like that. Everybody has their own AR, about 80% of the department. I don't have one yet. Eric Mitchell doesn't have one yet, and some reserves. So what I'm asking is to cut down that inventory is to sell some of our old ones to our senior officers. While I was in Evansville for Pella, Deputy Chief Bright got 2 quotes from gunslingers in Anderson, Indiana, and one at Pepperport and Bluffton. And for the old ones, we want to get rid of both of them said about $400 per AR.
Is the value.
Is the value that they would give a trade in or to buy.
And you,
one of those.
if you sold these, you want to sell them to your employees.
We want to sell them to employees. At that point, we will go to Bluffton and register them in our name. With that money generated, just like with our Walthers, I like to use that money to purchase new AR rifles. I talked to Phyllis. I would give the guys a receipt, and I would give the money to Phyllis, and then when I do buy the new rifles, I'll put on their invoice money that was generated from the sales to help pay for that.
How many new ones do we need?
I'm looking to get 3. I have a little bit of money and some low it if I come up short, but I want to sell at least 7 to 8 of them, and that'll bring about $3,200. And then I want to keep the 4 good ones that we have. Those were valued about $450, but the other ones had a little bit more wear and tear. Those are the older ones that went on our Crown Vics when Chief Kessler was chief of police.
And you want to keep 4 of the better ones, you say?
Yeah.
Why?
Just for our reserves. If something would happen that they would be called in to help, they would have an AR, because they qualify with ARs too.
Okay.
Whatever full-timers qualify with, we qualify. Except
Okay.
for full-time officers, they actually get to take their ARs home.
Do the staff want to buy them?
Yeah, I
Kind of
talked
surveyed
to them,
them?
and they are willing to buy them for the $400 if that's agreed.
Okay. Sounds fair to me.
I'll make a motion that we
Amendment, Tim?
let Chief.
I need to verify that we can do it this way.
Okay.
It's
We
surplus
did the
property.
pistols.
What's that?
We sold the pistols that way.
We sold the Walthers, our old guns, and we used that money to buy our new Glock 26s, our
Right.
off-duty guns.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Automatic rifle may be different. you think?
I don't know, that's what I'm saying, I'm
It's not
not,
any different.
Make the motion subject to
I'll
Mr.
make a
Baker
motion
finding out.
if he needs to find out. I hope he doesn't spend a lot of time on it, but, okay, I'll make a motion that we go with what the chief suggests and sell the used rifles.
Second.
Motion and a second, pending Tim's looking into this, that we go ahead and sell them to the employees at $400 a piece.
Only to the officers.
Only to the officers.
Yeah, only officers.
Yep.
Then we would, after the sale's done, we would take them
ARs.
to Bluffton. He offered for a small fee to register them in our names.
Okay.
It won't be in the department's liability.
Right.
Used rifles.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Lenny. That's that one. You got a grant recently from Walmart.
Correct. This was done with newly promoted Kevin Gerber to detective, and with the help of Melissa, we was able to get a $4,500 grant from Walmart. And Kevin approached me about this grant, and we would like to get a drone for the police department. We went to Fort Wayne today to get some information at Braitman's on some equipment, and as we were coming back, we actually talked to the Fort Wayne Police Department, who is giving us some information on classes, licensing, and some suggestions were to buy a drone. So we have a resource in Fort Wayne to help us out on that. So I don't have much information to tell you at this time, but I do plan to have Kevin Gerber come up here and explain to you what he finds out, maybe the next council meeting. But we did get that check, and I did give it to Phyllis's office for deposit.
And we discussed this morning in our department head meeting, and other departments would have use for it, Les would have use for it. The city, just as far as a promotional piece, would have use for it. There's a lot of uses for that drone, and yeah, like you stated, locating someone that's missing.
Correct.
Yeah,
They were actually going to call one on Mr. Journay, but
Right.
we found them before they could come down. But
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. It's kind of popular among police
I
departments.
support it. Yeah. You guys okay with that?
I'll have Kevin come in another time and explain. He's checking with Fort Wayne right now. This John Bratmiller, who actually is a drone operator for Fort Wayne PD. So we were talking today.
Good deal. Was that everything?
The sergeant promotion.
Yep, the sergeant promotion. When did we do it? Last September 23rd, whatever that was.
Monday.
We interviewed, Monday, we go yesterday, we interviewed 2 candidates, 2 patrolmen that are eligible to become sergeant, to take over the vacancy we have.
Correct.
And it was Corey Ham and
Derek Logan.
Thank you, Derek Loshi. You could see him, I couldn't say it though. Both of them interviewed excellent. Corey is our K-9 officer, and Derek is just on the road. And we asked Corey his opinion on being a sergeant and doing the dog at the same time. He had his opinions that he thought he could do it. One of the things that Derek shined in is the fact that he is our FTO, Field Training Officer.
Correct.
And I think that this person is most likely going to be the sergeant on second shift because of the odd man out, little man on the totem pole, so to speak. For that same reason, we have most of our young officers working the second shift. And with him being the field training officer, I personally think that might make a good fit. Bill, you have any comments you want to add?
No, you just sold me.
Yeah. So, with that, Bill, you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we promote Derek Loshi to sergeant.
And I'll second that motion. And we'll go ahead and vote. Bill? Aye? Aye? Aye. Okay. So, there you go, Lenny.
Well, thank you
And,
very much.
and nothing against Corey.
No,
excellent young man.
This one kept me awake quite a bit, and they're both great guys,
Yep.
well qualified. But again, we're a young department, and right now, when I first took over, there was a questionnaire put out, what do you want, what do you need? Corey wanted to be a K-9, which he's doing an excellent job, but Derek Loshi wanted to be a department trainer, and he has handled that level of police work to the highest level.
And right now, in the position we're in with all these new officers that are going to be stuck on second shift,
Correct.
it makes total sense to have their sergeant be the FTO. So that's kind of that was the big selling point, I think. So, yeah, if you would notify both of them, and again, let Corey know he's an excellent young man.
Yeah, we'll talk to him. He's at
Respect
K9
the heck out of him. Yeah, okay. Oh, you got it?
One
That's
more
it?
thing,
Yeah.
are we still good? I didn't know where we're going to go on the sergeant promotion, but since we got Derek, he's in town, Corey's in at K-9 Nationals, they will both be scheduled for
Swearing in.
this Thursday.
I think we do we have that tentatively on it? Yeah. 4 o'clock, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
This Thursday, 4 o'clock.
Yeah. That's fine, Lenny.
Okay. And then Eric Mitchell's scheduled to go to the academy January 13th, so he's signed up to go. So
There you go.
we're going.
Do Kevin Gerber.
swear-ins
Right, we're going to
for-
swear in Kevin.
Kevin Gerber and Derek Loshi. Chris Bright kind of did 2 schedules. If Derek would have got it, we're going to start Friday as the new, whoever's getting their positions. By Monday, we're all squared away for a change, so.
He would just say.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Lenny.
If we wouldn't have chosen Corey.
Okay, next thing I have up is the Council members, if you can join us, all this stuff's going to involve you.
Yeah, it's right here. I might be blind.
We discussed at some previous meetings about the strip of land on Monmouth Road by our lift station. There's a little bit of chunk of land to the south of it, little chunk of land to the north of it. It's not really good for anything, but we have some easements that run through there, and we decided, you gave me permission to pursue seeing if that person would sell it to us. And long story short, I have a purchase agreement with Gina Winger. What we did was we offered her $500 an acre, and basically I told her that that land is not good for anything else. She has, kind of take it or leave it, because nobody else will ever want to buy it. You can't build on it. It's in a floodplain. And she realized that, the offer was about the only thing she's ever going to get on it. There were 5.38 acres of land at $500 per.
It's $26.90, I think.
Does it say that in here somewhere? Yeah, there it is. $2,690 is what we would be paying her. I presented her with this real estate agreement that Tim prepared, and she has signed it. All I need now is the okay from the Board of Works to go ahead and sign it, and then I would also bring it up at the council meeting for council to okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We'll mention this at the council meeting for final approval.
How many acres was that? I apologize.
5.38 acres.
Okay.
I see Barry sitting back there. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Come on up, Barry.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Here, I'm sure you know, sewer district. You read in the paper that we've received a grant to go out and service the Bobo area. It was not the direction we was originally, the original thought process was going that way, but the grant had to be shovel ready. So we had Bobo sitting there on print, on plans. We're all set up from our agreement 3-4 years ago that we had. So that was ready. They gave us the money for that, and so we had to go with that. We was going to come in Pickway Road all the way in the other side of Decatur. We could have got Tim, but we didn't get that accomplished. But what we're doing is we're, I guess, asking for a capacity certification letter, which we kind of already, back 3 years ago, had disagreement. The permits were already with ICE. They have expired since. It's been over 2 years, so them permits expired. So what we have to do is resubmit the same thing back to them to update that. What this is just saying that the city will take the treatment, or do the treatment for the water or the wastewater that comes out of that line. Now, what we did in the meantime, there was quite a bit of money extra that we could get because no one was shovel ready. So we added, on top of Bobo, we added all the homes on 33 between Arcadia Village and Pleasant Mills. So there's 40, roughly in the 40-some homes there that we're adding to it, which they were on the original plans to do when we did the whole works, but we didn't have enough money to pay for that. So that got thrown out along with some other ones. So what it amounts to is we're asking for, there'll be more homes than just the Bobo. There's total, we're estimating right around 90 homes that we're going to be hooking up. To fall back on it a little bit, I talked with Carrie and Berlin about this a week ago, and I took some calculations just to give you guys so you're aware of what we've been sending you all along. Since January 1st till today, today, it's been our highest. I mean, it's really been wet back in April and May. You know, everybody knows how much rain we got. And we did increase some flow, but we averaged on 8 months, it was 8,897,000, which figures up to 156 gallon per house per day.
How many? How many gallons per house?
Per house, 156 gallon per house per day. That's what we averaged in 8 months. The 8 months prior to that, backing up to May of 18, we averaged 113 gallons a day. So it did increase some. You know, I showed Carrie this a little bit ago. So that wasn't our lowest 8-month run. The very first, you know, it's just been creeping. I suppose a few people have been cheating a little bit, but I still feel the 156 gallon. That's the highest amount, the highest average we got. This month that Verlin just read it yesterday was 119 gallon a month. So that was for the month of September. So we averaged 119 gallons. So I used the high number. You know, I used the highest number we have on it. So what it amounts to is you're going to end up with the 90 homes, about 14,000 gallons a day. That's at the highest number we've had in 20 months. And while we're talking about that, I mean, that is something that we've kind of, I think, Ken, you have that, Mary, you already have that copy of it?
Yeah.
This is just to send to the state to get the permit to approve that project.
You said this is the same thing we signed 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Word for word?
The state, I can't tell you that because I wasn't the superintendent of that.
Who wrote this?
This is through Commonwealth, through our engineer, that they just copied from what you had last time. The gallons may be a little different now because we added, gallons on here is right, but the gallons that we added in between Pleasant Mills and Arcadia Village, that has increased, but the gallons at Bobo hasn't. The same, we haven't added homes there.
Well, Barry, here's my concern.
Yeah.
You know, the certification says that we've reviewed the application that you're sending to IDEM, the plans and specifications, and the collection system that's being proposed. Are you saying that when we signed the original agreement, that what you're going to now construct is exactly what's shown in that?
Yes, we used those plans. We couldn't draw new ones up.
Is the 33 you mentioned you're picking up?
That was designed with the project also, but we didn't do that also. That's
what I'm saying is
we have as homes are remodeled or anything happened to them even before today's add-on, those people have to hook up to begin with. You guys, the area, the source that we ran sewer for, the track that the line runs, you guys approved everything on that.
Okay.
The possibility of everything on that. The thing we're adding, what we are adding is the line down 101 from the river to Bobo and Bobo. That is the part that we're really signing the paper for. You already, I mean, I can't, you know, Monmouth, the same way at Monmouth, we got all the homes building out in the Monmouth area. We're adding homes.
Right.
That's no different than the line going along 33.
That's what I guess I'm saying, because I shared with Carrie, and my concern is, you know, this references that we've reviewed these plans. You know, if we've already reviewed them 3 or 4 years ago and it's covered under the existing agreement, and what you're putting in is exactly what those plans show, that's fine. But if we're adding something to those plans, we need to see what you're adding so that we have the ability to determine where that's connecting, and does that impact any of our system to take the load that you're talking about.
It's all we bid this project once, if you guys remember. We bid the project, and then it came in too high, so we had to pull it out. Those plans is what we used this time to do it. Except now we're making it mandatory that the ones that we were gonna hook up on the other part, that, we had the money, so we got them hooked up. The plans that we're asking for here, yes, identical. I mean, they didn't change. They might have added one home, but that's a gravity down on 450, and it's in Bobo. It's,
Jeremy?
These areas, if you guys remember back when Terry Smith was still at the health department, back when Mayor Schultz was here, remember when the 50 or 60 letters went out, the connect orders? That was all figured in also when Nate was working on those connect orders with what Barry's talking about. When Nate Rubenslag was here.
Right.
Nate worked with Commonwealth on these exact same areas. So between Nate and Ben Adams was the one that was working on it. These were permitted once. And then when we determined that we were not going to go out and do the Pinkley Road extension and some of these other ones, I think it was about your first year, maybe your second year in office, we decided just to let the permits expire and then pick it back up. Is what Barry's doing at this point, he's trying to pick those back up. Because those
I just want to be careful as to what I'm signing here.
I understand.
I mean, it's one thing to say that we have the capacity to handle the affluent that would be coming from the adding 90 homes. I think, from what I understand, we have that capability. So that part of it isn't the issue. The only concern is Ken is certifying that we've reviewed the plans, and
I have a set if you,
I think it might be helpful just to take a look at it. I'm not trying to hold anything up, Barry.
How soon you gonna have this signed?
Yeah.
Well, Ben called today asked when the meeting was, and I said, well, I'm coming tonight for that. We just need, we'll be at your mercy, but we'd like to get it in sooner than later because we'd like to have it sent to them before we accept bids, which is a week from tomorrow, a week from Thursday.
Yeah. If you don't mind, can I share something?
Yep.
I'd like to, if it's okay with you, I'd like to make a motion
Go ahead.
that if you review the plans and feel comfortable about discussing it with Barry and Jeremy, whoever, Carrie,
Sign the certification.
to go ahead and give him the
Yeah,
approval
I
to sign the
agree.
certification, so we don't slow it up. We're looking at less than 1% of our city's population adding on to this, right? Isn't that something like that?
90 people, so I don't know how many people, yeah.
Or
Or
count.
90 homes.
Oh, I'm 90 homes, well, that might be a little bit more, but it's
Yeah.
a small percentage.
Yeah, the other thing that you have to look at is the certification says that the average flow will not result in hydraulic or organic overload. So again, I'm not an engineer. I have no clue whether that's the case. I think it would be helpful for us to at least look at this, see where it's coming in, make sure that's not going to be an issue.
We're coming through the meter that's already there.
Okay.
Your meter or the meter that we installed for you guys out at the nursing home.
And if Carrie and Berlin are comfortable in saying that's not an issue, then I think Ken can rely upon what they're telling him.
So anyway, I made that motion, is that a good idea?
Yes.
That's good.
And Bill seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And Carrie and myself, maybe Verlin, is there could you get us a copy of the...
Yep, I got it set in my office. Actually, I got a small set, and I also have a
And
large set.
I'd really like to see what I signed 2 or 3 years ago as well, to see if it's,
Well,
if this
these,
is-
like I said, this set of plans, they gave us, we had to have a contract signed by, they gave us it'd be August 1st. They said, okay, you gotta have contract signed by January or December 16th. Well, there's no way you can go out and draw up a set of plans, do anything. But I got one more thing I want to bring up to your attention.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And this has also been in the newspaper and everything. I talked to Carrie and Berlin about this also, about the future projects which we're looking at. And the county council has given us $500,000 to do the drawings because we found out in order to get money, you got to be shovel ready. So before I go and spend $500,000 on plans, I want to go over the areas that we're looking at wanting to bring into the town of Decatur, or city of Decatur. And I've talked with them, and they said it'd be a good thing to bring it to your guys' attention, what we're looking at. And the very first one is the top of my list is Barrington Woods, which has pre-stress services involved in this. There's 200 jobs out there that I don't really want to say, but really needs to be done. In some ways, I wish Decatur could just do that, but the sewer district's here. It's the top of the list. We don't want to lose 200 jobs in Adams County due to not having sewage treatment out there. Plain and simple. That's very important economic development. We want people coming in town to buy groceries. We don't want them to go to Louisville, Kentucky, or Lexington, Kentucky to their other plants. Preble is another one that we're looking at. Back to Barrington Woods. There's 43 homes at Barrington Woods, and then we figured, I was talking to Kevin today, pre-stress, there's as high as 200 people working there, that's counting truck drivers and everything. We figured at about 13,000 gallons of water a month with them. So I did some calculations that I'm going to run out to you here in a minute. But Preble, there's 100 homes. Peterson is an option along with that, but there's only 33 homes on that one. It's a small burg. Down the road, probably Magley would be one of the next ones. They'd all incorporate together, but not on this one. Monmouth Extended, we got a very bad area out here on 900 between 000 and 100 East. There's roughly 40 homes there. And then Clems Lake, we've had tons of people calling, wanting sewage out there. Was not on our radar, but we've had enough people call and say, please get a sewer. And I've talked to Donnie, and I've talked to him about that one would be a good one to bring into Decatur, because there's not going to be really any issue, because we could hit into, or dive right into the main trunk line on this side, on that side of the river. Total on that is 271 homes. Took them same calculations using the highest gallons, that 156 gallons per day, things like that. We're talking, where is it here? Sorry. 600, no, goes up here. 319 gallons, 271 of, no, I'm sorry. I'm going on everything. Yeah. Anyhow, revenue, treatment, gosh darn it, I have this, I'm sorry, at 196. Well, I'll get back with that anyhow. But with adding the BOBO, we are going to increase your revenue to 120. It's going to be $120,000 a year is what we're paying you for treatment. If we would add them next 271, which we're wanting to get grants for to do, that would add another 100,000. So we'd be paying you somewhere close to $225,000 a year for treatment. And we would, if you would take, that would be a total of, gallons per minute, because Berlin was worried about that. We got, I'm sorry, there's 571. I had all these numbers right, but I didn't.
Well, it's on the future stuff that you're looking at, next phase, what are you needing from us tonight?
Just somewhat of a, well, I don't want to spend $500,000 and know where to go with it.
Kerry, you tie in Barrington Woods and pre-stress. Where's that all come in? Winchester Road?
That's how many gallons there's.
North Cross Creek.
Right after the new golf course place.
Okay.
Berlin was a little worried about the 12-inch line going underneath the railroad tracks at Bungie. I did
A
calculate...
little bit of worried or a lot of worried?
Well, I said it's so old. I did do some Barrington Woods and pre-stress. Used those calculations I had. We would add, and I used 5 days a week for pre-stress because they only work 5 days a week, and I figured that'd be 650 gallons per day that pre-stress would give us. The homes would give us 6708, or 6,708 gallons per day, totaling 7,358 gallons per day. That's on the high side again. So if you take that by the minute, it's 5.1 gallon per minute that we would add to the line that's going through there. Now, I understand that he's worried about that might be an old brick pipe or something that's going underneath them railroad tracks. It's a 12-inch. Right, Gary?
It is, yes.
And
It's a 12-inch, and when we put it in there, it was basically to service the plaza that's there. And since the plaza, now we have all the Cross Creek stuff coming in there.
that pump station.
And so it's already added to that pump station, and now we add all this. I think it is a big concern. It's not a little concern, it's a big concern. I mean, I don't... Carrie?
That line needs to be replaced anyway, but it would have, I can't even guess as to what type of line you have to put in there, but you have to put a bigger line in that lift station and it should be upgraded. It may have to be upgraded anyway, and we'll just be on our time, because everything's accepted.
Is that pretty new? Isn't that one pretty new?
It is. The line is still old.
Yeah, but I mean, the pumps itself are...
So I guess, before I can endorse it, move forward, I guess we would want to do some more research ourselves.
What I would suggest, Barry, is maybe Kerry, Verlin, you, maybe one of the engineering firms that we're working with currently, sit down and
Look at the gallon.
take a look at this very carefully, because while it's, certainly the city has expressed in the past its willingness to work with the regional sewer district to provide the treatment facilities to allow you to do this. At the same time, we have to be very careful and look at what the city's needs are and what the cost would be to the city if we're talking about upgrades that would be required in order to handle these additional homes or these additional areas.
And that area could be such an area that if we have to pull out, I've told the commissioner several times, I said, actually, that's the most important one to our area, 200 jobs out here.
That's what I was going to point out. I think Barry has a very good point.
Absolutely.
That,
It's a question.
Maybe that would be the city's side of supporting that.
And that's the city's call.
But it all has to be,
Yeah.
like you said, it has to
I know, and I'm not saying this is what I want by no means, but I know with Allen County Sewer District, the city of Fort Wayne pays so much per point to the sewer district for everything they add. Now, City of Fort Wayne, monstrosity. We don't want to compare that. But they have programs set up, and then that money gets put into repair and maintenance or things like that, We're not looking at actually, we're about doubling what we're pumping to you before we add this on.
Yeah, I think capacity-wise, we probably have the capacity. I think it's more an issue of where it's coming in. Right.
I understand. And that's why I'm here. Right. I don't want to spend stupid money and throw it away and you guys say, absolutely not. What I'm asking is, are you guys going to be able to work with the sewer district to make this happen? I'll tell the county council, we don't want the money and we're not going to do it, but economic growth, that's not what our county needs and that's not what the city needs.
I got to bring this discussion to a close. Okay. We got 3 more things on the agenda, and we only have a few minutes.
Should we go ahead and kind of keep moving forward?
Well,
meet with them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good enough.
Real quickly here, I got a letter from Scott Ainsworth about Southeast Elementary, and they want to call our time on making a decision. I don't think any of us have come up with a a brilliant idea what to do with Southeast Elementary, but it did kind of rattle my brain a little bit, just in the last, since I got the letter, that, you know, have we done due diligence in surveying to see if anybody else in the county would want it? I mean, I look at the service complex over here that the county owns, and they're continually moving people elsewhere because they're out of room. Is this something that we should ask the school for a few more weeks and give me an opportunity to talk to the commissioners to see if we accepted it and that we could give it to the county? I don't know if they would want it or not, but I just hate to turn it away, not knowing that there's, you know, maybe there's somebody out there that would want it. We haven't.
Did you already ask for an extension?
Not yet.
Why don't we just ask for another extension?
Let's ask for an extension.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know. I've given a lot of thought as far as Park and Rec and their actual locations. And polling, because they're kind of really diverse across the city. I know it would require some capital for maintaining.
What was it? The utilities at Northwest when operated at $160,000 a year. I mean, this one may not be as much, but it's going to, you know, just the utilities alone is a lot of money.
Right. But we haven't had any real discussion about
right.
that.
Yep. I agree. In theory,
We have the right to take ownership of it and turn around.
I don't know. That's another question I need to ask Scott Ainsworth.
I think once it's ours, as long as we dispose of it in a proper way, I think we can do with it as we wish. You know, I don't know that, you'd have to look at what the offer involves.
It goes back into the whole charter school foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Of which I don't really see somebody wanting it. But you never know.
I think it would make a better community center than the current one we have.
Well, it's got a gym there, yeah.
I mean, if
That's
you
what I'm saying.
want a community center, we can use. Huh?
What are you going to do to the current Riverside Center then?
Riverside Center can be rented out. It can be utilized like it's being used, and make it more of a revenue generator than a
Everything that's
center.
being said here makes total sense, but we have to have the means of doing those things. And that's what we haven't discussed that, so.
Park department understands the means to do it.
Right.
Right.
Jeremy, got any opinions here real quick?
Struggle month to month the way it is
With what you have.
with the park records. So we're gonna have to think pretty long and hard about how we can support a building like that.
Right.
And we talked about it as park board, as both park boards, when the stock's already in debt, when Northwest got the debt. And then Northwest got the debt. Back then. Probably not doing anything because can't afford it on our own.
Okay, well, let me just, for now, get with Scott and see if we can buy another month's time from him.
Try for 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay? Ask for 60 days or so.
Here, Cam.
Yeah, or end of the year, yeah.
Yeah.
Melissa, can you cover the Northwest Elementary, Okra, feasibility study, low to moderate income?
Sure. Okay. We met with Wiley and Craig and Colton and James at Economic Development a couple weeks ago. In short, OCRA, the Indian Office of Community and Rural Affairs, which is the agency that we went through for Stellar, they have what's called a public facilities grant program available, and a learning center would be an eligible project through those funds. So we thought immediately on Northwest School. It's a $500,000 grant that we could apply for. The matching funds was a minimum of 10%. So back up a little bit. In order for the City of Decatur to be eligible to apply for this grant, we have to meet one of 2 national objectives that's set by HUD. We either have to address slum and blight, or we have to meet a low to moderate income percentage. and that LMI, the low to moderate income percentage, is set by the census. It has to be 51% for Okra to say we can apply for those funds. We are at about 38 or 39%. So what Okra would allow us to do is do an income survey. It would be a random selection of homes in the city of Decatur. There's no guarantee we would get that to that 51%, but in order for us to be eligible for that grant, we would have to hit that 51%. The last census data was from 2010, and as it goes, that data isn't always the most accurate or reliable data. So we had Andrea, who's our Okra representative, come in. We talked about this a little bit. She seemed to think it would be appropriate for us to do an income survey to see if we can get to that 51%. It truly is a luck of the draw of what homes, what households you would get. The methodology for this is that, let's say that I drew Tyler's address. We could contact your home by mail, by phone, or in person. We would go to, you would have a form and would say how many people live in your home. You would go down to that number, and it would equate to, does your total household income equate to more or less than that number? We're not asking, what do you make a year? It's above or below a number. Only an address is tied to the income survey, a name is not attached. So that's the cliff notes of, is this grant something that you would like to pursue, and if so, is an income survey a process you would like to go through in order to see if the city is eligible to apply for these funds?
What's it going to cost us to do the income study?
If you were to pay an outside grant administrator, I would say it would be in the $5,000 range. Through Okra, I am a certified grant administrator, so you could use me as part of my city time to do the study. I would say I would need a crew maybe of a couple people if we got to the point where we needed to actually do phone calls or go door to door. But
Colton Bickle's all on board with this too.
Colton is
He's all in on
certified grant
helping.
administrator, and he understands how this works, so that's going to be a good, not that we're volunteering him for anything, but a good resource of someone else who knows the process as well.
He would help when available, yes.
What percentage of population do we have to have answers? I mean, how big of a
Okra has a
pool is it?
formula that we would have to go through based on households and population and that current LMI. The guidelines have changed significantly since probably in the past 5 years. I would say we're looking maybe in the 200 homes, 200 to 300 homes.
Okay.
We would have to, there would be a random sampling of addresses that we would take from a list from the utility department, because that would be the most complete list of residents.
Personally, I think it's a no-brainer. We need to do this. That's my opinion.
Moving forward with the grant part, there's a grant cycle that will be due this fall, which obviously we wouldn't be prepared for. The next grant cycle would be in 2020 in either April or in August, and those would be due.
So between now and end of the year?
I would say yes, because the other part of this is if we were certified that we could apply for the money, then Okra wants to know that you've got a plan, kind of a feasibility study in place. How's the building going to be used? What do you have for maintenance? What do you have for sustainability? And that's another thing we spoke about, is it would seem that something like that, grant or no grant, would need to be in place to move forward with either whether it's asking for grant funding or approaching an institution of higher education to occupy the space. So income survey feasibility could happen concurrently, but that's kind of where we are.
The process of pursuing it is going to be helpful, and just like Stellar, right? You pursued the Stellar, and they gave us a plan. We have to do this feasibility, pursue this grant, put the plan in place.
Exactly.
And Okra also has grant funding. It's called a planning grant that would be a feasibility study, where it's a maximum of $50,000 you would put in as a city, 10% where you could hire an engineering firm to walk through a feasibility study with you.
And we would want to win the grant, but if we wouldn't, just like the Stellar, as you said, it still would put us in a good position.
Exactly.
Melissa, what would you call the grant again, a public what?
It's a public facilities program grant through Okra, alphabet soup.
the blight on
And so the 50,000 would
Yeah,
come
I don't know.
from where?
And that's where the city would have to figure out if they're going to move forward with...
This, it wouldn't, yeah.
It'd be, I know, but you still got a budget. for it.
Right.
Or, and the 5,000 would be due this year or next year?
I would hesitate to say we'd be ready for anything this year.
Okay, so everything's 2020. Okay, so,
With either the planning grant or the big grant, we would still have to hit that 51% LMI to even apply.
okay. So you won't really know anything until the
Until that
survey's
income
done.
survey is complete. Now, if the crew wants to say we want to do a feasibility study anyway and use city funds to do that, then that could be enough.
What about, Kim just mentioned the other option, the blight?
Blight was,
You would have to prove that it's a blighted structure, that by doing this, you would
Oh, the
eliminate...
building itself.
Correct.
Okay.
So, like, for example, was blight used when you took down the city garage by the pool?
Yeah.
That was probably the national objective used for that. So I don't know that Northwest would
No, okay.
quite meet that qualification.
Break all windows.
oh,
John Jason.
John
John
Jason, but that building was,
Was-
Yeah, blighted.
I don't
Okay.
think we could successfully argue that Northwest is.
Okay, so I'm hearing that it sounds like we should do this, but I'm also hearing from the clerk treasurer where we're going to get the money if we proceed with the feasibility study and whatever. Is that something
Council
that needs...
decide where they want to pay for that.
Okay, so I should bring this up again at the next meeting here? Will do. We'll talk again in just a little bit.
Thank you.
Carrie? Carrie, go ahead and talk. I got to write something down here, so
You all received the,
speak loud.
all received the 745 maintenance agreement with Kone. There is a man list at the soil site that is not functioning. I contacted 3 different organizations. This was the only one that is insured to handle this kind of equipment. So I just wanted permission to sign this 745 agreement.
Tim?
Tim had it.
Yeah, and Kerry pointed it out as well, but they shift all liability to the city. In fact, we have to insure them as an additional insured under our liability coverage in order for them to work on our equipment. So I asked Kerry, I said, is there, have other communities used them? Have they been able to negotiate those terms? But it sounds like they're the only game in town, so I think they pretty much demand that you comply with their terms and conditions.
When I spoke to them, and they made it sound like this is a standard form.
That's what I'm
everybody
saying.
had to sign, and so I didn't know if it was a big deal until I read it, and I'm like, oh, that sounds some red flags.
So,
I'd make a motion that let Carrie do due diligence and get the thing serviced.
yeah, it needs service. The question is, are you okay with us assuming liability?
Yes, Carrie is. If you're happy with it, if
I
you're
don't
happy, that's
know
what I'm
any
saying.
other-
I'm not happy with the language, but I don't know that we have a choice, is what I'm
I
saying.
contacted Schindler, which is the one that does the maintenance on the elevator here, and they flat out told me no.
I've dealt with
This is the only
manless
one
and
that says yes.
plant situations, and you're gonna run into one vendor that will do it.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what happens.
And if they're the only,
That's what you
if they're
do.
the only vendor, you don't have a whole lot of negotiating room, is what I'm saying.
I'm saying I would make a motion that you approve the liability issue.
I'll go ahead and second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The thing
Does this Board of Works say thank you? After this, I'll bring it up yet.
Yeah,
Right off.
I have one last thing I have to bring up. We're running a little late, but we have to finish up with some matters that... Melissa? We're hosting a thing called the Build Institute. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
And it's going to be, it starts
A week from today.
a week from today. It's going to be for how many weeks straight?
8 weeks.
8 weeks straight, and it's going to be held upstairs on our new conference room upstairs. And it is a business plan and an entrepreneurial community building program that transforms communities through entrepreneurship. So I think most of you have kind of heard a little bit about it.
It's been in the paper, yeah.
Yeah, and I believe we've okayed her to do this, okay? But she found out this week we have a contract to sign that says that it's up to her to coordinate and pay for class time meals with a budget, and then invoice Seed. Seed is the company that this goes through for reimbursement. Also coordinate and pay for any quality child care if needed within the budget, and invoice Seed for reimbursement. And did you ever find out?
Yes, we can get reimbursed within a week.
Okay. So weekly she would need to maybe 1 week, and there maybe be how many people you're feeding?
Probably 10-ish.
10-ish people that she would need to feed, then get reimbursed the following week. We know of a few places here in the town that will allow her to buy meals and get paid a week later. So I guess I just need the Board of Works approval to...
Otherwise, there's no cost to the city for this program.
Right.
In this pilot year that they're doing, they're providing it for free. The people in the class pay a fee, and if they successfully complete it, they get the money back. So there is no expense put out by the city other than using our facility.
Okay. Any comments anywhere else here?
You just need a motion for Melissa to approve Melissa signing this agreement.
Yeah.
And for her to
Which,
hold
yeah,
it.
which were, those were the only two that was the stumbling blocks before I ever allow her to sign it. So,
I'll make that motion. It gives her permission to sign that.
to do the meals and
To do
the
the
child
meals.
care if necessary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Craig seconded that, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Does that run through Trellis Hart?
She's the one who brought it to us, yes.
Okay.
That's the program she runs.
Okay, that's all for the Board of Works meeting. I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Wait, excuse me.
No, go ahead. I'm not going to cover these things.
Yeah. Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?